Hey guys, so today we're going to go over our Novatron 240 lighting kit, which is going to be available for rental for students in photo classes at UWEC. So first of all, we're just going to go over an overview of our lighting kit, then we're going to do a quick start guide, and then I'm going to do a little bit of shooting with it to show you what products you're going to be able to achieve with this kit. Okay, so let's take a first look at our power box for the Novatron 240 light kit. You're going to notice a few different ports on this, and all of our ports are going to be plugged in for use of our flash kit. These ones at the top are going to plug into our lights. There are 3 ports available, but unfortunately there's only going to be 2 flash heads. We'll have our test button, which is going to be able to throw out a couple flashes and sync up with our light. Our reset button in case you're having some syncing issues as well. Our on and off switch, which is going to turn power on and off to the box as a whole. We'll have our watt seconds power, which is going to be 120 and 240 switch. And then after over there, we're going to have our little light indicator showing whether or not our flash is ready to shoot off power. And then we're going to have our little sync cable port in the bottom center there. Next up, we'll have a look at our flash heads that are going to be coming in the kit. As I mentioned quickly, there's just going to be a light bulb and a flash ring and a built-in reflector. Unfortunately, you can't put any box modifiers on this, but there is a slot for the umbrella in our mount. So we'll go ahead and flip over to the back for a little bit closer look at that. We're going to have a hole right there, which the pellet is going to feed through after we loosen our screw. Other than that, we're just going to have our mount for our light stand on the bottom, which is also going to be loosened by a screw. And we'll have our angular adjustment. At the bottom here, we'll have our cord just dangling, which is going to plug into our power box and can be lined up with the ports inside to give our flash unit power overall. Next up, let's look at our umbrellas here. We have 2 umbrella options to diffuse or modify our light. First of all, we're going to have this white nylon umbrella. It's going to open up pretty much just like a normal umbrella, as well as close up the same way. It has a nice strap in order to re-secure it, and we're just going to press it down gently in order to tighten it, and then wrap that strap around and attach the Velcro at the other side. Just remember to be careful with these, as these are a bit older pieces of equipment, but they still work great. Next up, we're going to have our silver reflector, which is going to reflect and diffuse a little bit since it is a white fabric. Again, it's just going to open up the same sort of way. This one unfortunately is just a little bit more damaged, so we'll have to be sure to be extra careful with it. As you can see right here, we're just going to have this damaged pull, so just make sure it doesn't poke out or poke through the fabric at all when closing it up or opening. And then after that, we're just going to want to be closing it gently and putting it back. Unfortunately, this umbrella does not have any sort of securing strap, so it's really just held out on its own. Just be sure once again to be gentle with the equipment, as it is a little bit older. Next up, I'm going to go through a few different items. First of all, we're going to have our hot shoe mount, which our flash sync cable is going to plug into for cameras that don't have a sync cable port. It's going to plug into either side here, and then on the front we're going to have our test button, which is going to allow us to sync our cable to our flash, and then the hot shoe mount on the bottom. After that, we're going to have, just as I mentioned, this extra screw in case one of the screws on the flash becomes loose or gets lost, or one of them on the light stand does as well. And then after that, we're going to have our light stands. We're going to have 2 of these light stands each available in this kit. They're a bit older, but they're metal and pretty sturdy, so you'll just open them up kind of like this, and you can extend the legs all the way out, which will give you a nice sturdy stand. Up at the top, we're going to have these adjustable screws. At the very top, we're going to have our mount for our light, but these screws are going to allow you to adjust the height at which your light stand is going to be able to sit at. There's going to be 2 of these adjustment knobs, which is just going to allow you once again to extend your light to different heights, as well as allow you to create different angles. And then this bottom screw is just going to tighten that leg mechanism and make sure that it stays pretty securely with the stand itself. Okay, so next up we're going to get into cables. We have our power cable first, which is going to power our box overall. This end is going to plug into our power box, and the other end is going to plug into our wall outlet. Always make sure that this cable is wrapped Next up, we also have our sync cable. This end is going to plug into our hot shoe mount or our camera directly. You're going to want to make sure this plugs in pretty snugly, and the other end is going to plug into our box where it says sync. Once again, be sure to keep this wrapped up nicely when you're not using it. And then lastly, we're going to have our extension cable. This is just going to allow you to shoot farther from a wall port than usual in case you need that extra reach. So we'll talk about a little bit about putting away this light kit. So first I removed the top divider, which I like to keep on top in order to keep everything securely down in the center of it and packed up tight. So first I'm going to go ahead and put in my power box just straight at the bottom. I like to put it in one of the corners just so it fits in pretty snugly in regards to everything else. After that, I'm going to go ahead and put my extension cord in right beside it, as well as my other cords such as my sync cable. And then after that, I'm going to start putting in my light heads. I like to wrap these cords pretty tightly to the light hit and face these light bulbs down so they're directly padded underneath them. I'm going to go ahead and put the second one, kind of just fit it in the best way it does. It's a little bit like a game of Tetris, but it's not too hard. And then after that, I'm going to put my hot shoe and my extra screw into the zipper pocket just to make sure it doesn't get lost in the bottom or crush at all like these smaller pieces often do. And then lastly, after I put my divider back on top, I'm going to fit my umbrellas just diagonally across. This is really the only way that they fit. They're a little bit longer than the kit itself, so we're just kind of going to snugly put them in with our light stands on top as well. Okay, so today we're going to do a little bit of a quick start guide to get you set up with a Novatron 240 light kit. I'm just going to run through a little bit of how to get set up in order to get you on your way. So we're going to want to start by connecting things into our power box. This process with the sync cable, first up, I've just connected my flash sync cable into the hot shoe mount on the side. You want to make sure you plug this in pretty securely, and then you're going to go ahead and press that test button whenever you have all the power on to make sure it's synced in. The other end I'm going to plug into our power box, right in this bottom center area, right into the plug. Again, we're going to plug that in nice and snugly. Next, I'm going to go ahead and grab my power cable. This end of the power cable is going to plug into this side of our power box, and then the other end is going to plug into our wall outlet. So first we're going to want to plug that into the side right there. Once again, just plugging that in nice and snug. After that, I'm going to want to start plugging in the lights that I'm planning on using. This amount can vary between 1 and 2 as there are 2 light heads in the kit. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in my first one by lining it up with the ports on the plug with the ports in the power box. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the little notch at the bottom is going to be facing down the right way so I can plug it straight in. After I have all the lights that I want to use plugged in, I'm essentially ready to go. I've just got to go ahead and plug in my power box. A little bit more in depth with controls, we're going to have our modeling lamp switch on the far left. Next in from the right on that, we're going to have our watt seconds power switch. So we're going to have 120 and 240 as our power levels. I like to personally keep mine on 120 because that's personally enough power for me. Then we have our reset button once again, which is just going to reset our sync connection. We can press that in whenever we're having a little bit of some sync issues. Our test one is also just going to throw out a test fire whenever we change our power or whenever we just want to make sure that our flash is in operating order. And then lastly, we're going to have our power button, which is going to provide power for the whole unit. This is just going to be a simple on and off switch. We're going to have our little indicator right here that says ready right underneath it. That's going to let you know whether or not the flash is ready to fire another flash or if it needs recycle time. Okay, since now we've got everything plugged into our power box, we're going to go ahead and mount our light unit onto our stand. I'm going to go ahead and do this by putting it right on top and then just tightening the mounting screw. That just gives us a secure connection to our lighting stand. After that, we're going to be able to adjust our light angle however we wish. We can do that by loosening the screw and then tilting up and down with our light to get it to the correct angle that we want to use it at. So next I'm going to grab an umbrella really quick just to show you how that would go in. You're going to want the light head facing the inside of the umbrella, and once again I'm going to loosen that screw that has just that small hole in it and feed the umbrella through. After I get it to the desired length from the light away, I'm just going to retighten that back up, and then I'm ready to shoot with a diffused light. Hey guys, so now we're going to be trying the Novatron light kit. Right here I have a little umbrella on it for us. And then again we have my friend Holly who's going to model for us, and then we're just going to go ahead and shoot through and show you some results.